Hi there, it's Coney here, and I'm back again with another diagram for you. This one's like a collection of lots of different things put together into one model. So the outcome of this is a theory almost of how to turn whatever you call it, consciousness or infinite intelligence or spirit or the field of all possibility, whatever you call it, how to turn that into wealth and money, right? Using the laws of physical reality, economics and marketing and all that stuff. So it's kind of a collection of almost everything. So there we go. At the very top here, see this box at the top? I've called it infinite intelligence / the field of all possibility, whatever you call it. Supposedly, like in Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill talks about there is a storehouse of information that has all the answers, all the inventions and all the solutions to all problems that have ever existed, exist now, and ever will exist in the future. Right? And that's where we tap. That's what we tap for ideas and so on. And there's been many inventors that say they got, their ideas for inventions and so on from outside their own mind, right? So that's what that represents. Now this thing is a person, a human being, has a body, which is this bit at the bottom. That's the bit that does that's the actions. That takes the actions in the world. That has to go out and actually, write the letters or type on the keyboard or drive the car to go to places. That's the thing that moves around the earth, right? But we also have a mind, which isn't actually physical. You can't actually see a mind. You can see a brain, but the mind is like the software that runs on it. And we separate that into conscious mind and subconscious mind. And I've drawn it on its side just because it's easier to draw that way. Now, you've heard about the law of attraction, The Secret and all that lot. Richard Wilkins from Broadband Consciousness, he calls, when he gets a download from the universe, he calls it a cosmic fax, which I'll mention that here. But your cosmic ordering is another way of talking about the law of attraction. A cosmic fact is something slightly different, but there we go. So where we start out is with we're the conscious bit. We can consciously control a certain amount of our thoughts and our mind, and a lot of it's unconscious that we can't control. But the subconscious can be imprinted by the conscious mind. So if you think something consciously enough times, it imprints the subconscious and it becomes automatic. And the secret and the law of attraction and all that cosmic ordering stuff, you can't cosmic order from the conscious mind. It has to come from the subconscious, because that's the thing that's connected to the field of all possibility. So you create the order or the intention in the conscious mind repeatedly. It gets lodged in the subconscious, gets transmitted to infinite intelligence, and then comes back to you as an idea. So in this instance, I'm talking about creating a product or a service or something that you can offer to the world that will make some money, right? I'll explain how that works in a bit. But so you consciously intend, even pose a question: what could I do to make more money or increase my wealth, right? So you pose that question to yourself consciously in the conscious mind, or whatever it is that you want. You intend it, past the problem, which gets transmitted to infinite intelligence. And I've said here that you pose a question and install it in your subconscious mind, and it's then broadcast to infinite intelligence. So if you ask yourself, if you pose a question in your own mind often enough, it will get transmitted to infinite intelligence, says this model. And then here it says, at some time later, after an unknown gestation period, because we're like Abraham Hicks stuff, Asking It Is Given book, that talks about the fact that we're broadcasting our desires at all times, even without doing anything consciously. We're unconsciously broadcasting all our wants and desires to the universe. And they call it the art of allowing in Abraham Hicks, because that's what they say where the problem is. It's not a case of trying to do anything, it's a case that we block it. I'll get to that in a minute. So there's a gestation period of when you send the intention to when it comes back to you. And I've put here creative imagination, so that's where you kind of clear your mind and allow involuntary thoughts to pop into your mind. So you can sit there and consciously think about a rose or a car or a holiday right now, but so many times during the day, you have those thoughts just pop into your head, and you don't choose those. They are involuntary thoughts. So they can either bubble up from the unconscious involuntarily into the conscious, or they can come from outside your mind completely, which is where this model kind of points. So I'll put here, infinite intelligence responds by flashing an idea into your mind, a cosmic fax, if you will. So you'll be caught off guard one day, you'll be daydreaming, or you'll be drinking a cup of coffee, and boom, into your mind will pop an idea or the answer to the question you've been posing for a given amount of time. And I put here after an unknown gestation period, because we don't know how long it's going to take for an order to be fulfilled, right? Cosmic order. And that's what the secret says, is that people intend it for a certain amount of time, but then when they get impatient and they start thinking about not having the thing, which actually pushes it away again, because then you're focusing on not having the thing, which is actually a brand new order for you not to have it, right? A new cosmic order for you not to have it. So that's how that works. If you lock into the intention and keep it there until it arrives, yeah? And that's where patience comes in, and faith and belief that it will. Because as soon as you cease to believe that or doubt it, you actually create an intention for the opposite. Easier said than done. Much easier said than done, but I'm just saying that's how it works. Now, I put here, this little roundy thing, is this note. I put the trouble people have making this part work is that they have so many blocks to infinite intelligence lodged in their subconscious mind. Just like I said, with Abraham Hicks asking it is given, it's called the art of allowing, because if we're constantly broadcasting our desires and our wants from our unconscious mind anyway, then if there were no blocks, then everything would just come to you, right? But that's not how it works. We've got all kinds of junk, limiting beliefs, and God knows what lodged in our unconscious mind that's blocking that stuff from coming to us. So even those ideas that come to us from imagination that pop into our mind, they're knocking on the door right now. All of it's knocking on the door, but through a whole bunch of limiting beliefs, that's what's blocking it, right? So I've put here like meditation, NLP, things like psycho-cybernetics techniques are all great tools to remove these blocks. So that's actually part of the process. And so there's a lot of work that needs to go on in our own mind, right? So let's move down a bit. This arrow, it says once you receive the cosmic fact, you act on the idea by creating a product or a service or whatever it is. So you might get an idea for a business or for a way of making money, right? And that'll pop into your head if that's what you asked for. And in this case we're talking about money, so that's probably what you did ask for. Let's say it's an idea for a product. So these little sort of cheese looking things, pizza slices, they're all examples of a product that you would sell. And here I put here the thing you would sell that will satisfy a certain desire that a group of people have, right? So this is like you want to exchange to get money, you have to give a product and then you get money in return. That's the transaction going on, right? And the idea that you get will be for a product in this case. And you give it to a certain group of people that have a desire, right? Because people don't just want to sit there and look at their money, they want that to trade their money for something they want. And if you come up with a product idea, create a product that they want, then they'll give you the money and you'll give them the product, right? And that's how you get the money and they get what they want. And it has to be a certain group of people, i.e. a market, as I've put there, and they have to have a certain desire. So there's the two criteria. So you create this product, and then we move on to marketing. So I've put here all the different marketing techniques. There's everything to do with marketing, like direct mail and online marketing, YouTube and search engine optimization and advertising and all that stuff. Yeah, that's basically the method with which you tell or broadcast a message to those people that you have this product that will solve a problem for them or fulfill a desire. So there's two parts to it. There's the technique, like search engine optimization or advertising or Facebook marketing or whatever, right? That's the technique. So you can have a Facebook page or you can have a YouTube channel or whatever, but the next bit is the actual content you put in there. So let's use this analogy. If you have a brick wall and you have a hole in it, that's the potential as like a placeholder for a window, right? But until you put the actual UPVC window unit in it, there is no window, right? It is a window placeholder. So same with all this. Same with if you've got a YouTube channel or you want to do YouTube marketing or Facebook marketing, that's the container, but what you put in the container is the actual marketing message itself. So you can access, all these freelancers now on places like freelancer.com that'll help you to write direct mail letters and do YouTube marketing and all that sort of stuff. But more important than that, and I've done this as it's like a megaphone because it broadcasts the message to these little things, these circles with the piece missing, are the people who are going to buy it. And so here I put, once you broadcast a marketing message to the world, you're making people aware of a solution or the product that's going to fulfill people's desires, right? So in here, while you've got all these fantastic techniques like advertising and YouTube marketing and all that stuff, the marketing messages, there's a whole other aspect to it here, like you need to know how to write, copywriting. You need to understand psychology and persuasion and all that sort of stuff. That's all exists in here, right? All the manufacturing and product creation stuff is here, marketing's here, and then sort of psychology and sales and marketing stuff is in this section, right? This is what I was saying, putting it all together. And right up here we were talking about, spirituality basically, and quantum mechanics and all that sort of stuff exists here. So you got spirituality there, you've got kind of manufacturing and product creation there, you've got marketing techniques there, and you've got persuasion here. So I've bolted all those three together. So once the marketing message goes out to people, right? So I put here people who have a desire that needs to be fulfilled, i.e. something missing, or people that need the missing piece. And this is like Pac-Man, because it kind of is. If someone is a whole person, i.e. they've got everything they want, then they would be a full pie chart, which is what that is. But in this case, when we have a desire for something, it's something we don't have that we want. And the reason I've drawn the products as a piece like that is because it's the missing piece. If I grab one of those, I could insert it into that, and then it would make it a full pie, right? And that's what people are looking for. Whenever anyone goes out to buy something, is because they have a desire, because they're not complete, if you like. So all these people have this little desire, and they receive a marketing message, whether it's on a billboard or it arrives in the mail or it's a text message, it doesn't matter. They find out about this product that you've created, and it fits what they want. Yeah, it's going to satisfy their desire, right? Then we move down to here where it says a person exchanges some money for the value. So the value is here, which is the product they want. That's what's valuable to them, and that will fulfill their desire. So you give them the product in order to fulfill the little missing piece. They give you some money, and that's how you've attracted some money there. You've made some money, and that's why I say a sale or a transaction takes place, and that builds your wealth, because these people have money in their pocket. They give it to you, and you give them the product in return. That's the transaction. Now this is the key bit. I put the bigger the missing piece, and the more people you reach, the more money you will make. All right. So if someone only has a little tiny desire, whereas they only want it a little bit, then they're not going to pay a lot of money for it. Whereas if it's something they really, really want, say if the gap was half the pie chart, then they would pay a lot more money to get them back to being whole again, right? Does that make sense? Yeah. So you could just, if you found someone who only had a little piece missing, that's okay. You probably wouldn't need to be able to charge a lot for the product in order to fulfill that whole. But all you do is you just get to more people. Yeah, you just scale it up. The alternative is if it's a very, very valuable product and there's a massive missing piece, then each individual person will pay more for it. Yeah, so you need to sell less of them to make the same amount of money. And that's why I put here wealth equals value times leverage. The value is the size of the missing piece that you give to people. Yeah, so that's like whether you sell a penny sweet, because it really only satisfies a very small desire. But by the opposite, something like an iPhone, or even think of it subjectively, even something as simple as a penny sweet or a sandwich, the value of that is relative. If someone's absolutely starving and they haven't eaten for 5 days, they may give you £1 million for that sandwich. So, but it's the value to the individual. And in their case, the size of the missing piece, the sandwich would be worth most of the pie. You know what I mean? Because it would be It's everything they wanted in that moment. So the value to them is huge. They'd pay a lot of money for it. If then you were able to find 1,000 or 10,000 starving people, so you've got starving, which is high value, and then you've got 10,000 of those people, leverage. If you multiply those two together, you'd end up with a lot of wealth, because you just sold 10,000 sandwiches at £1 million each, right? And I only use the food example just to demonstrate that value is kind of relative. Think about the iPhone. The iPhone isn't, you might argue, an absolute necessity for life, like food is. However, it seems to satisfy a great big chunk of desire that people have, because it's kind of, it's kind of a fashion accessory. It's 5 or 6 devices in one, so it kind of fills a great big piece of people's pie, and that's why they're willing to pay like 500 quid for it, because they have this 500 quid's worth of money, and they look at it and go, that's worth it. The value to me is £500 at least. Yeah, so they give £500 of money, and then they get the product, which satisfies a desire, a big desire. Not only that, Apple sell millions and millions and millions of them. So it's a big piece of the pie, and they're selling it to a lot of people. So that there is value times leverage, and that's how come Apple make a lot of money, right? But we can do the same thing. It's all about finding people with a big, either a big chunk missing, or a lot of people with a little chunk missing, or ideally both. Lots of people with a big chunk missing, and that then is the value times leverage equals wealth thingy, yeah. And then you get into economics, yeah, because we're talking about trade and so on. But that is the whole thing put together. So we started off by getting you can either go from top to bottom or bottom to top with this. You can either send a cosmic order in, how can I make some more money for myself, and then get an idea, create that idea, broadcast the idea to the world with marketing, and then get money as a result of exchanging it. Or you can go the other way. You can say, we want wealth, and you can identify a group of people with a need of some kind. So this might be golfers, people who like to golf, who want to be able to improve their golf score or something. And then you can go up to the top, and then in the cosmic order you could say, what could I create, or how can I help these golfers improve their golfing performance? And then you get the answer, create a product or a service, write a book about it, and then broadcast it to them. You see what I mean? So you can go bottom to top or top to bottom, it doesn't really matter. As a professional marketeer, I would suggest you go from bottom to top, i.e. find a group of people first, like the golfers, who are in desperate need to improve their golfing performance. And then the idea you get might be for a revolutionary type of golf club. It might be for an ebook or a physical book or a DVD course that you create that helps them to swing their existing club better and hit it further. So that would be the product. You'd let them know about it through marketing channels, website, and all the traditional stuff. You'd explain to them in marketing messages how it solves their problem, and if it fit the little piece that was missing, they'd give you the money, and you'd give them the product, they'd be satisfied, and you'd make money. So there it is. In a nutshell, there's masses of depth to each one of these layers. This is just like a bird's eye view of, like I said, all the areas of spirituality, manufacturing, marketing, economics, all kind of linked together in one big model, which delivers on the promise, which is tell you how to turn consciousness into money, basically, or spirit into money, infinite intelligence into money. So that's it. Hope you've enjoyed that. If you've got any questions or comments, then stick them in the comments box below. Other than that, I've been Chris Coney. Thanks very much.